Hey folks, Machinery Pete here. I'm in Southwest Michigan. We were filming a farm auction today for our TV show, and I'm here with RD Schrader, with President of Schrader Real Estate and Auction Company. RD, you guys did an awesome job on the sale today. Thanks for having us out.
Hey, well, it's our pleasure, Greg. Good to have you.
Now RD, I want to talk about something a little off the track of machinery values here. And almost 28 years I've been doing this. I've been watching Schrader. You guys, when it comes to ag land, gosh, I mean, you're at the top of the heap there in terms of nationwide. You've been selling it all over the place. And start off, RD, tell us about the history on Schrader Real Estate and Auction. How far back do you guys go?
Yeah, my grandfather actually started the company in 1944, so we've been around for over 70 years, and over the years we've sold in 40 different states. So
wow.
It's always neat to see how agriculture is done in different parts of the country. It's easy to look out your back window and just think that's agriculture, but you get a lot of variety as you go around the country.
Now RD, if we talk trends with ag farm land values, what have you been seeing here through 2017, maybe the last 18 months or so?
Yeah, well, over the last 18 months, of course, there's been a little downward pressure on incomes. We've seen interest rates start to come up just slightly, and so neither of those things have just created huge changes in the land market, but there is some downward pressure on land values.
Like, what would you say, let's say the best ground?
Yeah.
How much off the top are we here?
Yeah, well, the best land has been impacted the least, and you can find examples of good land that's bringing the same today as it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Every pocket is so different. There's some awfully good land that's down a little bit. When you flip to the side of the poor land in a given area, you know, it could be off 25 to 30%.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the extreme, and of course you've got everything in between. But there's some downward pressure, but there continues to be a lot of cash on the sidelines looking to be invested in farmland, both from investors and from operators that were in a position to save over some profitable years here recently.
Right.
So still a lot of cash looking to be injected, but it does tend to keep getting a little choosier the longer we go through this period of incomes being pushed down, and when it gets choosier, it tends to go after a little higher quality land.
Okay. Well, RD, listening to you there, I hear echoes of the used farm machinery market, where the highest quality stuff has been holding value pretty well, but the average condition stuff off. And you're seeing that again with land values across the Midwest, would you say?
Yeah, that's pretty true. And again, every pocket's a little different. So that example of the poor land, you're not going to find that example in every county, but without a doubt within every state you can find an example of that, I would say. Right.
How about when that right piece of ground comes up and you guys are selling it? And in terms of availability right now, the number of... Yeah,
still awfully tight market. As far as volume on the land, I'd say over the last couple of years we're down from the prior years as far as available land. And maybe that has a little to do with uncertainty in the marketplace, but between the cash that's available and the less supply, it has helped keep values up where they're at today.
And of course they can't make any more land. So.
That's for sure. Never will happen. So, you know, if you have a piece coming up next to you, it may be your only chance in your lifetime, and so there's still a lot of folks in a position to buy. And you know, back in the 80s, if your neighbor didn't want to buy your farm, you might not have a buyer for your farm. Today it's just a much different market with investors and operators alike, and so it's a much more fluid market today, and a lot of other folks out there that are wanting to put their money in farmland.
Would you say, RD, the percentage of investor of the non-farming money buyers, is that backed off a little bit, or is that held pretty steady the last?
Well, during the drive up in land values through, let's say 3 years ago or so, it was definitely the operators that were pushing it, and the percentage of the land that was going to the operators was kept increasing as land values kept increasing. There's no doubt that they were the ones that were driving it. As we've come off the peak here, I would say the investors are buying a little higher percentage, and it's still the operators buying the highest percentage of land, but the percentage going to investor has climbed some here, and they view it as an opportunity, some of them.
Sure. Now RD, so you basically grew up in the business, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Your dad Rex, is he still involved with the business?
He's been retired about 5 years or so, so he's out enjoying life and going hard that direction now. Nice. But it's great to have him around for a lot of years.
What are your earliest memories of growing up in the auction real estate business?
Actually, when I first started going to sales, Grandpa was still involved too, and so they were two great guys to be around. I guess My grandfather passed away when I was still in college, so I would have loved to work with him full time a few more years. He was a great guy to be around, great guy to learn from. But I've been blessed to have those two guys in my life, that's for sure.
And Schrader, you guys have built quite a staff here.
Great people, yeah, we've got great people. We've got probably around 30 full-time folks, and then we've got independent agents throughout the Midwest and down the Southwest, Southeast as well. And so that's really what this business comes down to is the folks, and we've been blessed with some great people.
Well, I know I sure have enjoyed visiting with your team over the years on the equipment side. And I appreciate all your help.
Yeah, sure.
What about like the changing nature of the business in terms of promotion, RD, with of course the internet?
Yeah.
How do you see that evolving in the years to come?
Yeah, the marketplace keeps getting more and more sophisticated all the time, and part of that is the internet, Facebook, and those type of things where you just have to understand where people are looking for information. There's still a lot of conservative folks in our industry, you know, out there in ag world that still look in the traditional places, but there's also some folks that look in alternative locations, and so you've always got to be looking at those alternatives, and marketing is a huge part of our business. So, you know, a lot of people look at us as auctioneers. We kind of view ourselves as marketers, and that's what it's all about, is working to maximize the sale price of assets for folks.
Now, if I look here on the truck, RD, I have to ask about your logo.
Yeah.
Very iconic.
Yeah.
With this, I don't know, schooner or
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And we've had that, I believe, since sometime close to 44. If it wasn't 44, it's been close to that time. But as long as I've been alive, that wagon's been on there, the Conestoga wagon, actually.
Was that something your grandpa was involved in?
Yeah, right.
Very cool. Very cool. What do you enjoy most about the business, RD?
Yeah, you know, I enjoy agriculture and I enjoy people, and it's a great combination. We meet some great people as we get across the country. As I mentioned earlier, it's just great to see how agriculture is done across the country, how diversified of an industry it is, and it's exciting. It's exciting for young folks because there's so much opportunity in agriculture right now.
Right. What about young people trying, you know, the issue of trying to crack into farming? Yeah. Difficult these days. Without the family situation. Would you have it? I mean, you've seen and worked with all kinds of operations.
Right.
Any words of advice for young people who hope to get into farming?
Well, I would say that there's more opportunity than ever for folks, if they didn't grow up in the family farm, to find jobs in larger family farms. And as those operations evolve, they're looking for qualified people to rise up the ladder, whether they're family members or not. So I would say that there's still a lot of opportunity there. That opportunity kind of keeps changing. It may not look like it did 30 years ago, but on family farms, as they grow, family farms are corporate farms today in a lot of ways.
Right.
And there's a lot of opportunity in those kind of operations for young folks.
Take the opportunity and run with it.
That's right. That's right. Learn all you can. Learn all you can from good people.
Right. Now, speaking of learning and good people, I know that Schrader, you're associated with Purdue University.
Yes.
Somewhat, RD. You're a Boilermaker grad yourself?
Yeah, that's right. That's
Boiler
right.
up?
Yeah, that's right. That's
awesome.
right.
Football teams look a little better.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right.
I don't know if
we've got some optimism.
At liberty to speak about your association with the university?
Yeah, we've just worked to develop the Schrader Chair in Farmland Economics, and we're excited about that and some of the research that they'll be doing there, and we'll be working with them on. You know, the land market is a very interesting market and sometimes tough to peg down, but we think by working with those folks we're going to be able to come up with some great information, some great data for people to get a better understanding what's going on out there in the land market.
Well, that's exciting, RD. Congratulations on that new development with Purdue. And would you be okay if I keep bugging you for our Machine Repeat audience about the land trends?
Sure, anytime.
Awesome. Well, RD, thanks again for your help today at the auction. Folks, these episodes will air on RFD, I think, the first 3 weeks of December. Always fun to watch Schrader Real Estate and Auction do their thing. And again, if you need advice or looking to buy or sell land, folks, call right here, Schrader Real Estate and Auction. RD, thanks again.
Hey, thank you, Greg.